Shalom Yasha Allah is Brother Mapathak. That'll be key, but in ancient Paleo Hebrew. And in this video, we're going to kind of dive into Revelation, the 14th chapter, right? And give the understanding thereof through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And Lord willing, this is edifying unto the elect, right? And before we get into the words of the Lord, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukakadash, right? And we're going to kind of dive right into this thing through the spirit. And we're going to start it off here in Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1, right? And it reads, "And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, right? And we know that 144,000 represents the government body of the elect, right? And it says, having his father's name written in their foreheads, right? And let me get this real fast in John 17. This is the book of John, chapter 17, and John the 17th chapter, and verse 6. It says, I have manifested my name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. And these are the men that's that John the Revelator is seeing on Mount Zion with Yahushua, right? You got the government body of the elect, right, which is that 144,000. And Yahushua brings the elect to the Most High, right? I'm going to read that again. It says, I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world, right? And these men were preordained and predestinated from the foundation of the world. It says, thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. You see that? So through Yahushua, these men were sanctified. Salakia. Let's go to Romans 8. And let's get verse 17. And it says, and if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahushua. So the elect are going to be joint heirs with Yahushua, meaning they're going to inherit the things that Yahushua inherits in the kingdom of heaven. It says, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together, right? In the same way Yahushua suffered on this side, the elect are going to suffer on this side as well, right? So the elect are going to be joint heirs with Yahushua, right? And the elect have the Father's name written in their foreheads. You understand? And we're going to go into that as well. And I want to jump down to verse 23, though, and it says, because this is dealing with the 144,000, it says, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, right? Because we understand that Yahushua is that first fruit, right? Yahushua is the first fruit. You understand? But in the 144,000, right? Well, right after Yahushua, you have the 12 apostles, and after that, you have the rest of the government body of the elect. And it says, and those are the first fruits of the Spirit. And it says, even we ourselves growing within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body, right? So you have the first fruits of the Spirit, and that's who John the Revelator is seeing in his vision. I'm gonna get one more precept dealing with the first fruits of the Spirit. And Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 12, and it reads that we should be to the praise of his glory, who first trusted in Yahushua. You see that? And the elect in the government body, chiefly the 140,000, they are those who first trusted in Yahushua in the Spirit. You understand? The first fruits, the first spirits created by the Most High God, right? And that's the only precept. That's the last precept I'm gonna get with to deal with that. Let's go back to Revelation 14, and it says, I'm gonna read verse 1 again. It says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood upon the Mount Zion, right? And we understand the importance of Mount Zion. Right, that's the Salakia. That's the hell where the first temple was built. You understand? And it says, and with him 144,000. We just went into it. That's the government body of the elect, right? The first fruits of the Spirit. And it says, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I want to touch on that again. You understand? Because when you have when it says they have the Father's name written in their foreheads, that's not a literal writing, right? It doesn't mean they have a Yahweh tattoo on their forehead. You understand? That means they're fully devoted to the Most High God, right? They're constantly meditating on things that's going to please the Most High God. These are men that gave their life for this ministry. You understand? Everything they do is for the Most High God, man. They constantly have the Most High God sealed in their foreheads, right? Because your forehead represents your mind. Let's get that real fast in Deuteronomy 11. In verse 18, it says, therefore shall you lay up these words. Salaki, I'm going to read it again. It says, therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, right? And, you know, in the scriptures, your heart is your mind. So these men literally have the Most High God on their mind all day, man. Right? Like King David said in Psalms 119 and verse 97, his Salakia, and the law do if he meditate day and night. So he constantly had the words of the Most High God on his mind day and night, man. Right? And that's how we need to be in these last days. You should constantly have the Lord on your mind. Right? Your mind should never go astray too long, at least, because we're in these corruptible bodies. So sometimes we kind of start beginning to think about carnal things. You understand? Right? But really, man, we supposed to be wanting to be like King David, having that perfect heart towards the Most High God, man. Always thinking about the Lord, man. Right? And these are the men that John the Revelator is seeing in his vision. These men are always thinking about the Lord. These men love the Lord, man. These men are ready to lay down their lives for the Lord. This is a government body of the elect. Right? And so I'm gonna read this again from the top. It says, Deuteronomy 11 and 18. It says, therefore shall you lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. Right? And you know, between your eyes is talking about your mind. Right? And we know your heart is talking about your mind. So the words of the Lord should always be in your heart and in your mind, man. You should always be thinking about the Lord. Right? And that's what that's going into when it says they have the Father's name written in their foreheads. Right? Because your head represents your mind. Right? And let's go back to Revelation 14. Right? And let's read verse 2. It says, and I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters. Right? And who is that? Jehoshaphat. Right? And it says, as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. Right? And it says, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne. Right? It says, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man can learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Right? And this song is going into understanding. It's going into doctrine. Right? Pure doctrine. It says, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne. Right? And it says, but no man can learn that song, meaning no man can get this understanding, but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Right? So this gospel, it begins with the elect. You understand? The government body of the elect. These are the men that the Lord is going to use in these last days to raise up the rest of Israel. It all starts from the 144,000. Right? It all starts from the 144,000. And I'm going to go into a precept to show you what that song is talking about, right? It's dealing with doctrine. It's dealing with understanding, right? And this is the book of Psalms, the 40 and verse 3. And it reads, and he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear and shall trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And that's what that's talking about. When he says that he hath put a new song in my mouth, right? Even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear and shall trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That song is talking about doctrine, right? Let's get another one. First Samuel. I'm gonna start from verse 5. This is 1 Samuel, the 10th chapter, in verse 5. It says, after that thou shalt come to the hill of the Most High, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And it shall come to pass, when thou art come thither to the city, that thou shalt meet a company of prophets coming down from the high place with a psaltery and a tabret and a pipe and a harp before them. So these prophets, they came down with men holding musical instruments. And it says, and they shall prophesy. Right? So while these men are playing the musical instruments, they're prophesying. You understand? So the words of the Most High God, prophecy, right? It's likened unto beautiful music. I believe you read about that. I believe it's Matthew, the 20th chapter. It might be the I don't remember exactly what chapter it is, but you read about that in Matthew, where it says, we have piped unto you but they did not listen, and so on and so forth. You understand? So the gospel is likened unto beautiful music, right? So that's what it's talking about in Revelation, the 14th chapter. And it says, verse 6, and the Spirit of the Lord will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and shall be turned into another man. Right? And I want to get another one in the book of Sirach. Sirach chapter 36. And in verse 15, it says, this is Sirach chapter 36 and verse 15. It says, give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning. Right? And it says, and raised up prophets that have been in thy name. Right? And that's what the Lord is doing in his last days. Right? And the 144,000 is the chief ones that the Lord is going to use to raise up the rest of the elect. You understand? So going back to Revelation, the 14th chapter, I'm gonna read verse 4, right? So that music in verse 3, that song in verse 3 is representing doctrine, right? So verse 4, it says, these are they which were not defiled with the woman, right? So the 144,000, they're not going to be defiled with women, right? It says, for they are virgins. And that's not on a literal level. That's not on a carnal level. This is spiritual. You understand? That doesn't mean if you have sex with a woman that it's not possible for you to be part of the 144,000. That's not what it's saying. That woman represents different understandings, different doctrines, right? And let's get that real fast. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 2. And this whole thing is good. Yeah, I'm going to start from 10. It says, when wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee. Understanding shall keep thee to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things, who leave the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked and they forward in their paths, to deliver thee from the strange woman, right? Even from the stranger which flattereth with her words, right? And that strange woman represents, it's twofold, right? It's on the physical level, right? But it's really dealing with on the spiritual level. That strange woman represents strange doctrine, like being like Pan-Africanism, or being a Muslim, or being an Old Testament only Israelite. These are those strange women, right? Or Christianity, right? They flatter with their lips, with their words, because they say things like, "Hey, you don't have to keep the law, brother. You can still live you can still live your regular life. All you got to do is do this. All you got to do is repent. All you got to do is come to church on Sunday. You can still smoke your weed. You can still sell your crack. You can still be a whoremonger. You just got to come get baptized." And that's how these strange philosophies and understandings, they flatter you with their words, right? So when we're reading about that woman not being defiled with women, it means not being defiled with strange doctrine. Let's get another one in Proverbs, the 5th chapter, to make it plain. So this is Proverbs 5 and verse 1. It says, "My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb," right? "And her mouth is smoother than oil," right? And it's speaking about false doctrine. And it says, "But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword." It says, "Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove the way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house." So just stay away from false doctrine. That's what it's talking about. Stay away from the ideologies of this world, right? And their lips are smoother than butter. They might sound good to the ear, but ultimately it's going to lead you to destruction, right? It's the same thing with Adam and Eve in the garden, right? When Eve was speaking to the serpent, his words they sounded good, right? They told her she would know good and evil, that she would be like the Most High, And these things were smoother than butter to her ear, and she hearkened. And what ultimately happened? It led to her and Adam's destruction. Right? It led to sin coming into the world. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it's talking about in Revelation, the 14th chapter. And I'm going to read it again. It's Revelation chapter 14 and verse 4. It says, these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. Right? And the elect are likened unto virgins. Right? Meaning they're pure. They're pure in heart. They're sincere. They care about the ministry. They take this ministry serious. Right? That's what it means to be likened unto a virgin. And that's why when you read about it in Matthew, the 25th chapter, when you go into the parable of the 10 virgins, you have the wise virgins, right, that took the ministry serious. Right? And we're going to read it. This is Matthew 25 and verse 1. It says, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. Right? And those lamps represent what does a lamp bring forth? It brings forth light. Right? And what is that light? That your knowledge. Right? This truth. That's really what it's going into. It says, and took no oil with them. Right? So the foolish ones, they didn't take any no oil with them. Right? And that oil represents wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? It says, so they knew the truth, but they didn't take it serious. Right? They didn't keep that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding with them. Right? They didn't they didn't cherish it. Right? But these wise virgins, right? The elect virgins, they cherished this thing, man. It was no way they weren't going to be ready for the coming of Yahushua, because they took this thing serious. Right? And that's who we want to be. We want to be those wise virgins, right? That's constantly day in and day out, being occupied in prophecy, right? Being occupied in the scriptures, right? Praying, fasting, right? Reading, right? Meditating on the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, right? And it says, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps, right? And the wise, they took oil in their vessels, man, right? So they constantly reading, they're constantly fasting, they're constantly being occupied in the prophecies, right? They cherish this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you see? And it says, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves, right? And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. And who is that bridegroom? That bridegroom represents the Lord. It represents Yahushua. It says, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut, right? Hey, and it's going to be too late in that day, right? And that's why we want to be those wise virgins, right? And the Lord said, hey, and the door was shut, man. Right? The chariot doors were shut. The Lord beams up his elect, and the rest kind of just, cast into the fire. So let's go back to Revelation. Salakia, let's get this real fast. It's still dealing with the virgins. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 11. Salakia. 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. And the 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 2. It says, for I am jealous over you with godly jealousy, for I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Yahushua. Right? And that's what the elect are going to be presented to Yahushua as, a chaste virgin. Right? And Yahushua being that bridegroom, right? That husband. Right? And then his coming is likened unto a marriage. So that's what we're reading about in Revelation 14. You understand? So Revelation 14, I'm going to read verse 4 again. It says, these are they which were not defiled with the woman, for they are virgins, Salaki. It says, these are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Right? And these are they which follow Yahushua whithersoever he goeth. So, and what is Yahushua on a spiritual level? Yahushua represents the word. Right? And whatever the words say, that's what the Lamb, Salaki, that's what the virgins are going to do. Right? And you read about that in Genesis 3 and verse 16. Right? That the husband shall rule over the wife. And Yahushua in the spirit represents our husband. So whatever Yahushua says goes. You understand? So it says, these are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men. being the first fruits unto the Most High to the Lamb, right? And we went into some precepts to go into the first fruits a few verses ago, right? So the elect are the first fruits, right? They're pure, right? They're likened unto virgins, right? And they're the first fruits unto the Most High and to Yahushua. And verse 5, it says, and in their mouth was found no guile, right? And what does it mean to have no guile? It means no deceit in your heart. You understand? You're completely sincere. You're completely in this thing for the right reasons, right? You have no secret agendas. You're not in this thing for vainglory. You're not in this thing for the wrong reasons. You're really giving your life and you're fully devoted to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? That's what it means when it says these men are going to be found with no guile, right? They have sincere spirits. Get a precept, right? And this is the book of Psalms, chapter 32 and verse 2. And it says, blessed unto the men unto Salakia. Blessed is the man unto whom Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai imputeth not iniquity, and in whose spirit is no guile. So you're blessed when you have no guile in your spirit. Why? Hey, because that's the a quality and a trait of the elect man, right? He's going to be pure, sincere, without guile, right? Let's go to St. John chapter 4, right? In verse 23. And this is Yahushua speaking, right? It's a red letter. It says, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers, right? And these true worshipers are the elect, those that have no guile in their heart. They're literally true worshipers of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, man. You know? And it says, the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Right? In spirit and in truth. You see? The elect are going to worship Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai in spirit and in truth. What does it mean to worship him in truth? In sincerity. Right? In sincerity. Right? And reading on, man. And that's a heavy verse. Right? The true worshipers are going to worship Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. And that's who the Most High God is seeking for. Those sincere servants that's willing to give their life to this ministry. Right? That's willing to give everything to serve him in spirit and in truth. You see? This thing, it gets deep. Right? So this is what it's talking about when it says in their mouth was found no guile. Right? These men are without spot. And like when you read about King David. King David had a perfect heart with the Most High. Right? So it doesn't mean the elect aren't going to go off because King David went off. Right? King David went off. You understand? But he's still part of the elect. And the Most High God still says he had a perfect heart towards him. Right? So the elect are going to go off on this side. You understand? Because we're in these corruptible bodies. Right? But their hearts, their spirit is right. Right? Their heart is right with Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You know? Let's get one more to this. Right? And this is Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter, and verse 13. It says, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity. Right? And who is the remnant of Israel? It's the elect. It says, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies. Neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. They're sincere, right? It says, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. So the remnant of Yasha'Allah, right, the elect, they're going to be without guile, right? They're going to be without guile. Let's go back to Revelation, the 14th chapter. Right? And this is Revelation 14. And I'm going to read verse 5 again. It says, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. And the elect, they are without fault. Like I said, they might sin on this side in these corruptible bodies, but still in the eyes of the Most High God, they are without fault. Right? They're perfect. Right? And this is a spirit. I got a precept. I was actually just reading this on my way home. Right? And I'm pretty sure I highlighted it through the spirit called like Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Right? And I believe this is what I want. I don't think this is the one I want. This is what I want. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 33. It says, who shall lay anything to charge of the Most High's elect? Right? They're without fault. Right? In the eyes of the Most High. It says, who shall lay anything to charge of the Most High's elect? right? You can't lay anything to charge unto those that were predestinated to be without fault, without blame, right? Blameless, right? And they're washed by their sins because they have Yahweh Shai making intercession for them, right? By his blood, right? And it says, and it is the Most High that justifieth, right? And it says, who is he that condemneth? It is Yahweh Shai that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of the Most High, who also maketh intercession for us. You see that? So that's why they're without fault, right? Because they're cleansed by the blood of Yahweh Shai, and they literally have Yahweh Shai on the right hand of his Father, right? On the right hand of the Heavenly Father, you have our Lord and Savior, our King, Yahweh Shai, making intercession for us, man. Right? Lord willing, we part of that number. But Yahweh Shai is making interception, Salakia, making intercession on the right hand of the throne of his Father, right? For our sins, right? For our faults. You see? So that's heavy. So that's why when you go to Revelation, the 14th chapter, it's not saying they literally didn't sin on this side, right? But they have Yahweh Shai, man. Right? And through Yahweh Shai, they're blameless. You understand? Through Yahweh Shai, they're perfected. Right? Let's get Hebrews 10. This is the Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 14. It says, for by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified. Right? So far by one offering, right? And what is that offering? The perfect offering. Right? The offering of Yahweh Shai. Right? He has perfected forever them that are sanctified. So when you think about that word perfect, you have to understand the elect are going to be made perfect through Yahweh Shai. Right? Through Yahweh Shai making intercession for them. Right? Through Yahweh Shai being that mediator, and ultimately through Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, through his blood. You see? So this thing gets deep. Right? Let's go back to Revelation 14th chapter. Right, and read in verse 5 again, it says, and in their mouth is found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. Right, and we just read literally why they're without fault before the throne of the Most High, because of Yahweh Shai. Right, they're perfect. Right, they're perfect. Right, and they're sincere at heart, and they have a perfect heart, just like King David. So going back to Revelation 14, I'm gonna read on down to verse read the next slot here, verse 6. And I saw another angel, right, fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, right? And that everlasting gospel was given unto the elect, right? And that's what you see right now, right? You have the Lord putting his spirit back on the earth, right? And the everlasting gospel was given unto the elect to preach into the world, man. Right, and this prophecy is coming to pass now, as you see this word going on the four corners of the earth. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Right, in verse 14, it says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So yes, all the nations have to they have to hear this gospel, right? We're out there preaching amongst everybody, amongst the heathen as well, right? So everybody has to hear this gospel, all nations of the earth, right? And then shall the end come, right? So our preaching, all through the Spirit, right, is was going to ultimately usher in our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai. So you have to understand how important preaching is. And through the Spirit, I want to bring this out in 1 Corinthians 1, I believe is in the first chapter. Bear with me. That's what I want. Verse 18. It says, "For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness." Right? So to all the 2/3, right, these nations, right, today they look at us when we're preaching as if it's foolish. Right? They think preaching is something foolish. They feel like there's no power in preaching. Right? But unto us which are saved, it is the power of the Most High. But we understand through preaching, right, that's going to usher in our Lord and Savior, right? We have to preach because we just read in Matthew 24, the word must be preached on the four corners of the earth, then shall the end come, right? And that's why we do these lessons and upload these videos to social media, to YouTube and things of that matter, because that's ultimately a tool that the Most High God gave us to get this word on the four corners of the earth. You understand? And That's all I wanted on that. I'm gonna read it again though. It's a pretty a beautiful verse. It says, "For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved, it is the power of the Most High." Right? And I want to read on down. I want to jump down a little bit. Verse 21, it says, "For after that, in the wisdom of the Most High, the world by wisdom knew not the Most High. It pleased the Most High by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe." Right? And into the world, preaching is foolishness. When they see people just standing outside with the Bibles in their hand and they're preaching, they think as if it's no power in that. Right? They look at us like, what are you out here doing? Right? You don't have something better to do to be out here on the Bible in your hand, preaching. Right? It's foolishness to this world. Right? But it pleased the Most High God to save through preaching. Right? Through the foolishness of preaching, it pleased the Most High God to save them that believed. You understand? So going back to Revelation 14, in verse 6, I'm going to read it again. And it says, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people." Right? And it says, "Saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come." Right? And that's what we say through the Spirit. Right? We tell our people to fear the Most High and give glory to him. Right? And we tell them that judgment is coming upon the earth. Right? And that's how you know, in these last days, the Lord is raising up his true elect, right? His true teachers. You understand? Because the Christian church don't go into prophecy. They don't warn the people from the judgment to come. But the Lord is actually putting his spirit on the earth in these last days. And we're doing just that, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. It says, "For the hour of judgment is come." And that's what we're telling our people. Hey, the hour of judgment is come. It says, "And worship him that made heaven," right? "And earth and the sea and the fountains of the waters." And it says, "And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen." So after the Salakia, after the warning is given, right? Because you read about that in Amos 3 and verse 7. "The Lord shall do nothing unless he reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets." So after the warning is given, right, and everybody was warned, everybody had a chance to repent, then the Lord brings forth that judgment. You understand? So now in the 8th verse, we're reading, "And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen." So after the warning was given, now then the judgment comes. It says, "That great city, because she had made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." And the wine that Babylon, right, which is America, right, makes all these nations drink of is the different ideologies and philosophies of this nation, right, of Babylon. Let's go to Revelation 17th chapter, right? And this is Revelation chapter 17 and verse 2. It says, "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication," right? Because all these different nations are in bed with America, right? And they're copying the ideologies of America, right? You got damn Chinese men wearing suit and ties now, right? You got Chinese men that don't even worship their Buddhas and things like that. They want to serve white Jesus now, man. Right? The East Indian man wants to be a Christian. He's not in Hinduism, right? He's not in his own thing, right? He want to be a damn Christian, right? And these are these different nations drinking of the wrath of the Salakia, drinking of that cup, drinking of the wine of Babylon, right? And it says, "And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication," right? Let's go to the next chapter, Revelation 18 and 3. It says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." So that's what it's speaking about when it's speaking about these different nations drinking of the wine of Babylon, right? They're drinking of her philosophies, right? I'm going to get one more in Habakkuk. This is what I want. Bear with me, Salakia. Yeah, I want the 5th verse, right? This Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, "Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man." Speaking about in the spirit, speaking about Esau, right? And it says, "Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations," right? And that's how you know it's speaking about America in the spirit, right? Speaking about the so-called white man, because hey, America gathereth unto himself all nations, right? America is called a melting pot, right? And all these different nations want to come and live so-called lavishly in this nation, right? And it says, the so-called land of the free, right? And it says, and heapeth unto him all people. And I want to jump down to verse 15. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink. And the Lord said, death and destruction unto him that giveth his neighbor drink. And that's what America does. It gives all these different nations the wine of Babylon, right? It says that puttest thy bottle to him and maketh him drunk also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that's what America does to these different nations and also to us Israelites. You understand? They're feeding us with their ideologies and their ways of life, and they made us drunk. Now we don't even know who we are, man. And now we're destroyed as a people, right? But the Lord said, woe unto them that do that, right? So going back to Revelation 14 and at verse 8, it says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, right? And going on to the next verse, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying, so now it all starts with the preaching of the gospel, right? And with the preaching of the gospel, the prophets give the warning, and then after the warning, Babylon falls, right? Now going to the next verse, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, and right, what is the beast? The beast is going into NATO, right, in the European Union, right? And we understand that NATO and the European Union gives their power to America, right? And America is part of the NATO as well, right? And it says in his image, right? And what is his image? His image is going to be that new world order that he wants to usher in. But the image is dealing with the ideologies and the philosophies of this nation, right? Of Esau, right? Of America chiefly, right? And it says, but it's really chiefly that new world order, right? That we always heard about, right? That one world government, right? The ideologies, philosophies, and the ways of life of that new world order, right? And it says, if any man worship the beast in his image, right? Meaning if any man worship the beast and get down with his ways of life, get down with that new world order, it says, and receive his mark. And what is the mark? The mark is the charagma, right? In the Greek, it's talking about that CHIP, right? That RFID CHIP. You understand? That's what that mark is. It says in his forehead or in his hand, right? We understand that we see Elon, I forgot his name. I believe it's Elon Musk, but the man that invented the Tesla, right? We see him coming up with this new brain CHIP, right? Which is called the Neuralink, that he wants to insert this CHIP, right, into our brains, right? And it says and in his hand, and we know what the RFID CHIP, right, in the hand is. That's what that mark of the beast is. It says the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, right? And if you accept that mark, you're going to drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High. You're going to be destroyed, right? You're going to feel nuclear fire. You're going to eat a missile. You understand? And it says, and shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb, right? So when Yahweh and the angels return, you're going to be eating a missile, right? You're going to be in that lake of fire, right? Getting beamed, getting hit by laser beams, right? And fire from the chariots and also from that nuclear fire that's going to be on the earth, right? And it says, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night. Who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark in his name, right? So if you accept that mark, right, if you get down with this new world order, hey, you're gonna be destroyed. You're gonna feel that lake of fire, right? You're gonna be burned, man. You're gonna eat a missile, right? You're gonna eat a laser beam, right? You're gonna be destroyed. And it says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahushua, right? In verse 13, it says, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, said the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them, right? So it's going to be some elect that's going to die before Yahushua even returns. You understand? All of the elect are not going to be on the earth on the day that Yahushua returns. Right? So that's why it says, blessed are they which die in the Lord. Right? That they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. Right? Because some of the elect are going to give up the ghost and they're going to be in the third heaven when the Lord returns. Right? Let's get a quick precept with that. Let's go to Revelation 20 and 4. It's the Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4, and it reads, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, right? And judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years. So some were already put to death, some were beheaded. You understand? Right? So some of us are going to already give up the ghost before Yahushua even returns. So that's what we're reading about in Revelation 14 chapter. I'm going to get one more dealing with that point in 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. Right? In verse 16, it says, for this we say, Salakia, verse 16, it says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the Archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Yahushua shall rise first. Right, you see that? So there's going to be some dead in Yahushua. That's what we're reading about in Revelation 14 chapter. Right, so going back to Revelation 14, right, I'm going to read verse 13 again. It says, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. Right, so that's what it's speaking about. From henceforth, yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. Reading on, and I looked and behold a white cloud, and upon the white cloud, one like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle, right? And reading on, and this speaking about Yahushua, and reading on, it says, and another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle, right? And Shalaki, and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And when it says the harvest of the earth is ripe, it means all the prophecies are coming to pass, right? And now it's time for Yahushua to return, right? Wickedness is at its peak. You understand? And it says, and he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And what is that going into? Right there, when it says the earth was reaped, it's going into Yahushua gather his elect. Because before Yahushua brings, and Salaki, before Yahushua and the angels, Salakia, before they bring indignation right on the earth, right, and they start to let go of those thunderbolts, right, those laser beams from the chariots, right, fire and brimstone. First, he's gonna gather his elect, right, so that they can be saved from the indignation of the Lord. Let's get that real quick in Isaiah 26. So that's what it means when it says the earth is reaped. This is Isaiah 26 and 19. It says, thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Speaking about the return of Yahushua, right, in the time of the resurrection, right? Some people are going to be resurrected into the chariots, right, and until everlasting life. Some people are going to be brought up just to be cast into the lake of fire, right? And this is the point. Verse 20, it says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. You see that? So some are going to be in the chariots until the indignation of the Lord be overpassed, right? Until the wrath of the Lord and destruction is overpassed. And it says, for behold, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. So before the Lord brings that destruction on the earth, he's gonna reap his elect. That's what we're reading about in Revelation 14 chapter, right? And I want to get another precept in Matthew 13 and verse 36. Right? And it's Matthew 13 and verse 36, and it reads, then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Right? He answered and said unto them, he that soweth this good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world. You see that? And that's what we're reading about in Revelation 14. Right? This parable goes hand in hand with what we're reading about in Revelation 14 right now. It says, And the reapers are the angels. You see that? And what did it say about the elect? It says, and then he reaped, right? And it says, as therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. You see that? So when it says he reaped the elect, right? Because the elect are those grapes, right? And when you have a vine and the harvest is ripe, you gather your grapes. You understand, right? And the rest is cast into the fire. And let's get one more precept dealing with that in Second Ezra. Right, it's Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 21, right? And it says, and I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster. It's speaking about the elect, and a plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish then which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant. Speaking about the elect, right? Everybody else is going to perish. He's going to keep his elect, his grape. It says, for with great labor have I made it perfect, right? He made his elect perfect, right? Let's go back to Revelation 14. So that's what we're reading about now, right? I'm going to read verse 16 again. It says, and he that sat on the cloud thrust in the sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. So when it says the earth was reaped, right? He reaped he gathered his elect. It says, and another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, right? Because these angels are going to be shooting down fire and brimstone and lasers from the chariots. And it says, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sickle, right? It says, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe, right? And once again, that just means wickedness is at its peak. And that's when Yahweh is going to return, where wickedness is at its peak. Let's get this in Joel 3 and 13. So when we read about this harvest, that's what it's talking about. This Joel 3 and 13, it says, I'm going to start from the 12th verse. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, right? And what's going to happen in the valley of Jehoshaphat? It's going to be the peak of World War III, right? The battle of Armageddon. It says, and that's when Yahweh is going to return, during the battle of Armageddon, when wickedness is literally at its peak and it's nothing but missiles flying on the earth, right? And a bunch of death on the earth, man. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe, right? Meaning wickedness is at its peak, right? I'm just trying to touch on that point. It says, come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. You see that? And that's when the Lord is going to return. Let's get that in Jeremiah 51, right? It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, and verse 33. It says, for thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts, the power of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. The threshing floor, Salakia. It is time to thresh her. Get a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. You see that? So that's what that's going into, right? The time of her harvest represents the time, the peak of her wickedness, right? And then that's when the judgment comes, right? So going back to Revelation 14, in verse 19, it says, and the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High, right? And that vine represents the rest. You have the grape, which is the elect, and everybody else, which is the 2/3, and also the heathen. They're cast into that lake of fire, into the midst of destruction, right? And it says, and the winepress was trying without the city, and the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse's bridle, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. That's how much blood is going to be on the earth. It's going to be so much blood that it's going to come up to a horse's bridle, right? When Yahweh Shai returns, right? Let's go back to Joel 3, and I'm going to read on a little bit in that chapter. We read verse 13. Let's read verse 14. And it says, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is near in the valley of decision. The sun of the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their signing. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Right? So in that time, he's going to be the hope of the elect. Right? Let's go to Isaiah 63 And this is one of my favorite chapters. Well, especially the beginning. It's Isaiah 63 and verse 1. It says, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Right? So this is speaking about Yahushua. Right? And it says, who is this that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Right? Edom, we know who Edom is. That's a so-called white man. And Basra, right, represents the capital of Edom. Right? And modern day Basra would be America. Right? So Isaiah was seeing a vision of Yahushua coming from America. It says, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. It says, I have tried the wine press alone. That's literally what we just read about in Revelation 14 and verse 20. It says, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. Right? Because the Lord is going to cause a lot of bloodshed when him and the angels return. Right? And that's all I wanted to go into. Lord willing, this is edifying, right? Lord willing, brothers and sisters got the understanding thereof, right? Revelation 14 is a beautiful prophetic chapter, right? And actually one of my favorite chapters in Revelation. So I just wanted to go into it through the Spirit, right? And I'm gonna get one more precept and I'm gonna close out. It's 2 Esdras 15 and 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's what we have to do in these last days. We have to bring out prophecy, right? The Lord says, speak thou into the ears of my people the word of prophecy. That's the job of a prophet, right? So, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect, right? I want to say shalom to the elect, right? And I want to say Kahala Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakadash, right? Continue to read, continue to study, continue to pray, continue to fast, continue to do all that you could do to magnify the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and be diligent in these last days to make your calling and election sure, right? Shalom.